All right, we are starting on a powerful note where the adoption of electric vehicles continues to make headway, even as Kenya Power today piloted its second charging station. The national transmitter has set aside 258 million shillings in the current financial year for the installation of charging stations and the purchase of electric bikes and vehicles. The two electric double cabins have been adopted to the fleet, with plans to install 9 more stations by July 2024 to serve major towns and highways. Our reporter, Nicole Njuguna, with more.
A good afternoon to you, and thank you very much. E-mobility is quickly gaining precedence here in Kenya, and we have seen various industry players come out heavily to champion the transition of public transport and even private transport to electric vehicles. So this comes as a preamble to the e-mobility conference that will take place tomorrow at the KICC, and so far the government, through the Ministry of Roads and Transport, has proposed, or rather has adopted, a draft e-mobility policy that addresses the integral factors that will be key in the rollout of electric vehicles in Kenya's EV landscape. So some of the things that the e-mobility policy talks about is developing a comprehensive regulatory framework which explains essentially how to go about the industry, adoption of a local manufacturing and assembly plant, and this also touches on capacity building. Just last week we saw 2 buses that have been locally assembled at the KVM plant in Thika being rolled out to the public transport. So on capacity building in the e-mobility policy, this talks about gaining how can we as a country develop the necessary skills and expertise to ensure that this is done well. It also touches on the physical and non-physical measures, tax incentives that will make it lucrative for industry players to want to collaborate in the sector, removing barriers that hinder the adoption of EV in the industry, and also reducing maintenance on the road maintenance levy. So this holistic approach to the adoption of EV in the country, it places Kenya, or rather it positions Kenya as a leader, as a regional leader in the transition towards sustainable public transport, public and private transport. So today Kenya Power has just launched its first two fleet, double cab fleet, which will be rolled out for the public, and it has also launched its first charging station, and we will learn more about how this will work, the rollout, the number of kilometers the car can do so far, and basically how the cars are being charged.
2026 will have rolled out in most parts of the country, but like I did say, we are willing to engage the market where customers have a customer segment that would really feel that if we provided the infrastructure in a particular location, it would serve them. We are going to be available to work very closely together with them. But yes, as we roll them out, and even if you had looked at the list of those that we had provided, to a very large extent, we'll have covered most parts of the country. But yes, there are definitely those very remote places and where you travel very vast distances before you reach the next town. Those are things now that we can start factoring in. But yes, at the very inception, we are planning to roll out to the major towns and also to where customers will tell us that we require this infrastructure. But going forward, we'll continue seeing the uptake.
Joining me is Mr. Mugambi from Kenya Power to explain to us exactly how these 2 electrical vehicles work. Thank you very much, Mr. Mugambi. Please explain to us how the vehicles are charged.
This vehicle works, doesn't use fuel to start with. It is an electric vehicle 100%, and it has been configured to look just like the normal vehicle. So you will get into your vehicle and you have a fuel card, just like for this will use a card which is like a fuel card. The one if you have prescribed for one with the fuel stations, you get a card which you'll use to do your charging. When you get to a charging station like the one we have right here, you will find that you have multiple charging options, depending on the standard your vehicle is using. Currently in Kenya, we have gotten CCS2, that's the combined charging cycle for AC charging, for DC charging, and we have type 2 for AC charging. There are other charging standards. In China, they use a GPT. In Japan, they use CHAdeMO and type 1. In Europe and in the US, mostly Tesla has their own charging standard. Kenya, from last year, adopted a CCS2. That's a combined charging system for the Kenyan market. So that is the first charger we have here. It also has the Japanese standard, CHAdeMO, because there are some vehicles built earlier, which are already in the market and are likely to use this charger. The Chinese standard, most of the vehicles coming from China right now are new, so they are complying with the Kenyan standard, which is CCS2. So we have no challenge with that.
All right, so maybe you can just demonstrate to us how it works, and also the number of probably units that it takes in terms of DC and AC.
So this car's capacity is 64 kilowatt hours. 64 kilowatt hour, under normal driving you will do 300 to 320 kilometers. If you reduce your speed constantly to 60 and below, you will do up to 400 kilometers, 350 to 400 kilometers. Right. It also self-charges when you are going down and descent. So it has it is able to recover some of the energy you have dispensed when you start going downhill. When you get to a charging station, the charger itself will tell you exactly what you have used at the end of the session. So you can also use timing or just wait for it to get fueled. The car itself also has a meter. It will tell you how much energy is in the batteries and how many kilometers you wish to move. So if you are traveling, you just need to stop for enough time to allow you to get enough charge to your destination. Yeah. Also, the timing is also, the chargers have different charging rates. There are some chargers at your home. If you are to charge this car, it will take almost 20 hours. If you use a normal home charger, which is about 3.5 kilowatts. Some other commercial chargers are 7 kilowatts. For this car, it will take almost close to 10 hours. The charger we have here, which is 22, will take about 3.5 hours. The bigger charger, which is DC, will take 1.5 hours from 0 to 100. So, and mostly these cars, you'll charge them when they are not past 20. So you will take a very short time, 40 minutes, 30 minutes. So if you are stopping at a mall with this charger, you should be able to comfortably charge your car.
All right, there you have it. Keep it KTN News as we bring you subsequent news and information on the EV transition.
Thank you very much, Nick.